Hello, fifth graders. So the last time I saw you guys, we were working in our water notebooks and continuing with the water cycle a little bit more in depth. I am just going to continue that as we work from home in our online learning platform. So your video is actually going to be the slideshow that you would have seen from me if we were actually in the classroom. Now, I know you guys do not have your workbooks, and that is okay. I do not expect you to do the workbook slides that are on here. I will discuss some, but not all of them. I do, however, ask that you guys take the quiz at the end. Instead of showing it to you on the slideshow and having you answer in the workbook like we have done in class, I have set it up separately under the assignments tab in Microsoft Teams. You can click the Drought quiz, take the quiz, you'll get your grade right away, and I'll be able to see it on my end. So again, we're just going to keep on going. I'm hoping I'll be able to get you guys your stuff because I had no way of knowing this was going to happen and we'd be stuck at home. But I'm hoping still that I'll be able to pass out to you guys your water efficiency toolkits. But if not, I'm very sorry. So in the past, we talked about efficiency and conservation. Remember, conservation is using less, but efficiency is using less, but still getting the job done. So you're still getting what you need to completed, just not using as much water or being wasteful with your water. You're using your water with a purpose. The very last time I saw you guys, we were talking about groundwater and surface water. Remember that surface water is what is found on top of the Earth's surface, such as lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, and oceans, whereas groundwater is the water that seeps through the ground and through the soil and is stored in an aquifer or a gap in the rocks or sand that allows little lakes to form or ponds to form underground. So, and remember, we get our drinking water from both surface water and groundwater. However, groundwater would deplete first because it takes longer for the groundwater to actually restore itself. Whereas surface water collects the rain right away, groundwater needs the rain to actually seep through the soil, and that depends on the porosity. Remember the pores that allow that water to get through, how big or little they are. So today we will be talking about a drought, and we've reviewed the water cycle already. You know that evaporation is when the sun heats up the air temperature enough to turn water into water vapor, and it collects in the clouds as condensation. And when those clouds get heavy enough with enough water, gravity is able to pull on those clouds and allow the precipitation to fall in forms like rain or snow or sleet or hail. Now, we are talking about runoff, and particularly today, the lack thereof runoff. So drought. What exactly is a drought? A drought is a naturally occurring weather condition that is a result of significantly less than usual precipitation over an extended period of time. Now, that period of time is different from different places. For example, in some places, if you don't get rain for 15 days, you're considered in a drought. However, in the western part of the United States, it's pretty normal for them not to get rain or a lot of rain for 7 months, from about March to October. So they would not consider themselves in a drought unless it went further than that. But droughts have occurred for thousands of years. A single drought can last several months or several years. Droughts can occur during any season, and typically a single occurrence of rain or snow does not mean a drought has ended unless you get a ton of rain or snow to be able to build back up those aquifers we've talked about before. One of the biggest droughts in human history actually caused the Dust Bowl, which is where they could not grow crops and everything was just completely dusted. As you can see in my picture on this slide, the crops couldn't grow, the cornfield couldn't grow, and everything just withered away and turned to dust, and farmers had a very hard time. So if you want a bit of a history lesson or you want to do some extracurricular activity, you can look up the Dust Bowl and how the drought affected that. But impacts of a drought can be severe. And although it's very common, they can have very bad consequences, as we talked. Farmers can lose their crops, which means there's no food for us or for them to put on the table. The plants that grow in the areas will die and blow away. Some of these plants are known that have small roots are known as tumbleweeds. You guys may have seen them in movies or TV shows where they're plants that just roll around. Then the soil in the dust itself can actually blow up into the air, and that would cause people trouble to breathe. It'll get in their nose and their lungs. Like I said, during the Dust Bowl, it was getting into houses, on the clothes. They had to wear face masks. So it can cause health problems to arise for animals and people alike when a severe drought happens. And also with a drought, it can cause large wildfires, such as this past year, Australia had one of the biggest wildfires, and it was because of a drought, and it caused them to have issues. So this slide asks, which climate types do you think are more likely to experience drought conditions? There is no climate that is eliminated from being able to get a drought. Every type of climate is capable of being able to have a drought or a long period of dry weather with less than normal precipitation. It can occur anywhere in the country. Which process in the water cycle directly affects a drought and why? Actually, there's a few places. If there's no surface water left, if the drought has become so severe that it's depleted the surface water, it can't have evaporation. However, before it gets that severe, the precipitation side of the water cycle isn't happening first. So once precipitation stops, the surface water starts drying up, the aquifers start drying up, and it stops the evaporation process, which also stops the condensation process. So the direct effect would be the precipitation, but then from that precipitation, it can affect the whole cycle. The ocean actually can be affected by a drought. It affects the temperature of the ocean, which can affect the marine life. It can also deplete the ocean of water. We have seen water levels change depending on the severity of the drought. Now, there has never, to my knowledge, been a drought so severe that the ocean water has really receded, which means gone back. But it does affect it, and it can be seen through the marine life and through the temperature. Now, the interactive map I cannot do today because I am recording this PowerPoint. However, I just want you guys to know that Florida actually is considered to be close to a drought. We did, thank goodness, get rain last night, which has helped. However, they have been seeing problems in Florida already this March due to this. Some of the things that they have seen is lower crop production and pastures being dried out, so they're having trouble feeding cattle. They have had one fire emergency linked to this drought a little further south than Polk County, and they've also had to put open burning bans throughout the county and state itself to kind of help with this situation. Can we prevent a drought? No. There is nothing we can do to prevent a drought or the consequences that come with a drought. However, we can help, it won't let me go back. However, there is things we can do to help with the water that we do have. We need to make sure that we use our water wisely all of the time, not just when we're in a drought, but all of the time in order to save that water and avoid the bad consequences during a drought. So you save up your water now, you'll have water when it gets harder to find. And that is being efficient. So we're using less, but getting the same job done. I am not going to have you guys open discuss on the forum about what you guys can do in order to be efficient. It is something we've talked about in the last couple of classes, and I've shown you some of the ways, such as in your kit, there's a water head, or a shower head, excuse me, a shower head from your kit that is efficient, so it has lower flow, and some other things that we have talked about. So you guys already know how to be efficient and how to conserve your water. So I'm not going to get into that today. Now, this is the student assessment. I am not going to continue with the slides here. However, I would appreciate if you go under the assignment tabs in our team and click on the assessment for this slide. It's labeled Droughts. It's only 5 questions long, and you'll be able to get your score right away. All right, 5th grade, I'll see you next time. Bye.